Through his critically praised albums, consistent output, and endless quality features, Florida rapper Denzel Curry has positioned himself as rap's underdog. Which is not to say that he's underrated. Unlike the other artists in 2016's legendary XXL freshman class, he's one of the only people I can think of that's never had a musical peak or needed time to improve his sound. He started under the radar of mainstream listeners, but through sheer persistence and constant evolution, he gained the respect of everyone around him. Although his rapping and beat selection is better than 90% of people out right now, what has made him one of my favorite artists is how open he is to new sounds and ideas. From Ultimate to Taboo to Zoo to Unlocked, Denzel has been on an upwards trajectory his entire career. Producer Kenny Beats is also someone who I've paid a lot of attention to over the past few years, mainly due to his collaborations with artists like Freddie Gibbs, Rico Nasty, O3 Greedo, Vince Staples, and countless others. Not to mention his incredibly entertaining freestyle show, The Cave. Every episode is funny as hell. His blown-out bass and unique sampling has made him an in-demand producer for anyone in the rapper indie scene, but he's never struck me as anything more than a really good mainstream producer. Until Unlocked came out. Made in only 3 days of studio sessions, this project completely broke the ceiling of what both these artists were capable of, delivering Denzel's most iconic and destructive vocal performances over left-field experimental beats, scattered with samples and audio distortion. After hearing the album live stream last week and re-listening to it a year later, no rap project has this much raw creativity while also sounding so professional. Denzel and Kenny Beats might have built their own subgenre inside this fantasy world of computer clones and anime references. The closest album I can think of that captures this energy is the Danger Doom project made with Adult Swim. They announced a sequel to Unlocked a year ago during their initial press run, but to hold fans over, they have invited all their friends and collaborators for a remix album that not only gives Denzel new features, but new instrumentals for him to rap over. Which brings us to Unlocked 1.5. Since it's a relatively short remix album, I'm still gonna go track by track here.
Out of the zoo, Carry City, what I breathe. Dissect the flow so you can see what I bleed.
While Denzel's work with Robert Glasper and Terrence Martin last year was extraordinary, I never expected him to lay down instrumental. It ends up being one of the more smoother shifts from OG song to remix. This could be applied to both albums, but for this song in particular, Denzel's verses are mixed so incredibly well here. His vocals on the song are some of the cleanest I've heard on a rap project maybe ever. If Kenny Beats was responsible for mixing, I want him in every studio session from now on. Smino makes an appearance on the back end of the track, sounding right at home with the production. The chill keys and vocal samples are just as laid back as he is. The original song is a huge highlight for me, but the remix is one of the few songs here that's creative enough to stand on its own quality-wise. Very interesting choice of guests. I'm familiar with Georgia Ann Muldrow's discography, but this is the first time I've listened to Arlo Parks, despite her being so popular. Her esoteric vocal passages and singing are a breath of fresh air compared to the rest of the songs here. Mixed with Georgia's surreal neo-soul production, it does a better job than the original in creating a psychedelic interlude. Denzel's vocals were mostly reused or unused for both tracks, so him not being here doesn't bother me much. Out of all the guests here, Alchemist seems the most familiar with the ideas Denzel and Kenny were going for on the original Unlocked. This song could actually be on the original track list without making much of a dent. The beat he provides here is absolutely subterranean with heavy bass lines, the drum patterns and piano passages that go in and out of the track keep the momentum for Joey and Denzel's verses. If I remember correctly, last time we got a mainline feature with Joey or Denzel was Zenith off Imperial. It's great to still see them working together. His verse here is one of the most energetic and eccentric in a long time. I would say more about it, but it only lasts about 30 seconds. I'm definitely looking forward to whatever he decides to put out this year. The only real drawback is Denzel's verse not meshing with the beat as well. It's so incredible, but it's still a decent track. First song here to only have an instrumental and no feature, but as far as vintage throwback beats go, Charlie Heat did a pretty good job emulating a classic 90s vibe with modern production. This feels like the movie soundtrack to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles set in New York. That could be good or bad. I'm not going to tell you. I will say the beat switch is handled much better than the original Take It Back in my opinion. It's an okay remix, but I won't listen to it again.
Okay,
While I think it's better in short bursts, Sengo's production has always been a favorite of mine. The reverse melodies and vocal samples on the song layer a positive energy on Denzel's verse. But at the same time, I feel like he sounds somewhat silly on a softer beat when he's rapping this aggressive. Kenny Mason is a welcome addition to the track. I've been impressed by his writing and charisma multiple times since I discovered him last year, but I still can't get over his voice yet. He reminds me of what people who don't listen to Kendrick think he sounds like. Can't take him 100% seriously. Still, his lyrics and one-liners are entertaining and turn this track from being forgettable into one of my highlights.
Franklin's on me, Los Santos. Diamonds on me, no Thanos. Too smooth.
Did not think I'd be listening to a Vine Star remix Denzel Curry, but okay, I guess. The soul sample is nice while it's on, but it's really uninspired. It sounds like Black Mass putting Denzel's vocals on a B-side knowledge beat. It just doesn't keep my attention after the first listen. The beat only relies on 2 simple loops and it just ends, I guess? I'm kind of disappointed. Layup was my favorite song on Unlocked. I wish it got a better remix.
Most they gon' name but me and Gunweed, the ones who they call when they get rusty.
I know some people complain about this song getting no production remix, but to be honest, I doubt anything could surpass this beat anyways. Benny the Butcher eviscerates this track with a grimy as verse matching Denzel's DMX delivery. This song makes me want to hear Griselda on more experimental production. I really can't say much else. I almost like it more than the original. Denzel has never been a stranger to both electronic and abstract production, but I'm actually surprised a song like this is even on here. Rather than creating a beat to rap over, Denzel's voice is chopped hundreds of times over with various speeds and rhythms over breakbeat drums to simulate a proper send-off to the project, similar to track 07 for the original track list. It sounds good on paper, but the lush and atmospheric production cuts short any real enjoyment I could get from this. Not gonna listen to it after the review, but it's cool that Denzel was open to a collab so out there. I don't know what happened in 2020, but all my favorite artists are best friends now, so that's great. I wasn't expecting all that much because most remix albums are low effort or just not satisfying, but this project far exceeded my expectations. If you're a fan of Denzel, I would recommend listening to this at least once. The features are all quality, and 1.5's production kind of feels like a what if in terms of what directions Denzel might go in the future, with more soul and R&B influenced production. I might end up covering the original Unlocked later on just because of how well it's aged, but 1.5 still ends up being an interesting career detour for Denzel and Kenny. I'm looking forward to Unlocked too.
Bueno, adiós, Master.